Well, here we go with stropping tools that are a little bit different with the than a single or single bevel. So some of the oddities, I guess. So if you want to know how to sharpen this or basically any single, double beveled, straight, or curved blade, you can go back to my first video on stropping, and we're going to go ahead and see what we can do about tuning up these devices here. So we have some edge bevelers here. These are sort of our normal edge bevelers, and then we've got some of these French bevelers here. So this one I just did a short, maybe I'll add it to this video, but this one was in bad shape as far as its grind, and we fixed that with a file. So I may add that to the end of this video if I don't put it out by itself. So here's what we've got to work with. So here is a 10 millimeter French skiver, and it's not in bad shape. I'm going to see how it kind of cuts right now. So it does a pretty good job, but we're going to see if we can improve that and show you how to strop. So some of these might be in pretty good shape already. We have a number 1, and that cuts pretty good now. We have a number 2. This is from Odin. It also cuts good. I use this one more, so it's a little duller. And then we got a number 2. Not sure what brand that is. I think that was just like a inexpensive one off of the internet. So this one definitely doesn't really want to cut without a lot of effort. So let's see if we can fix that with stropping alone. So move that out of the way, and we'll use our flat strop to do some of this. So this is already has compound on it, and we'll start with these edge skivers. So these edge skivers have a little spot in the middle in here, and it's got a trough in the back. I don't know if you can see that. I got some close-ups. And what we're going to do is like we did before, but this time I'm going to put a little bit of the compound, the buffing compound, on the edge. We don't use the edge a lot when we're stropping straight blades, so it's not a big deal to sort of deform these edges, because we don't really use those in our normal tasks. So we're just going to put a little bit of that compound on the edge. And we'll start with the smallest one first. These are pretty sharp, but effectively you're going to use that corner, and like any other time we're stropping, we never want to go in the cutting direction. We want to go the opposite of the cutting direction. So we're just going to find that little trough on the back and drag it along. We're going to want to do both sides of that. Get that compound redistributed. So now we're going to do the inside edge. And you can use your strop, or you can use another piece of leather if you want, like a little strip. Alright, like I said, this one was pretty sharp in the first place, but so that's that, and then we're going to come over here to the other side. Here's a new edge. Let's see. So that definitely helped out with it. Made it a lot easier to do the backside. So here's one that's a little bit larger. This is the number 2 from Odin. And we'll do the same thing. So you're just going to do passes on the corner. And you want some of that compound in there. Then we're going to rotate it, so we're doing the back side. Once again. Another way I've seen people do this see how that cuts. Really well. Back side. Much improved. Okay, so those are pretty simple because we can use the back side of this to work with. This one is a little more aggressive, a little bit not as refined, but we'll use this side to polish the bottom to get started. So we'll just go ahead and this one we're going to rock. And that's already starting to do a little bit of work to it. And since this is much larger and a little more aggressive, it's hard to get down all the way in there. So what we're going to do is probably use some unwaxed thread. Or wax cord, it doesn't matter. So we'll take that thread and we'll put a little compound on it. And we'll take that and we'll put it in the gap and run it through. So you're just using your finger to hold some tension. let's see if that helps us out. Well, it is actually cutting now. So even with this really coarse, just by giving it a little bit of tune-up with stropping, that really improved that. Now the other ones that we're talking about are going to be these French edgers or French skivers. And these won't really fit on that to do the insides. So there's an easy way to get a piece of material to be able to strop that. And so here's just a leftover piece of, this is also that coarse horse butt strip. So the easiest way to mark this for the width is we're going to make one for the 6mm and we're going to make one for this 10mm. So we have a strip here. Let's go ahead and square this off. So we can mark it without having to measure anything. It says this is 10mm, but basically you just need to put the edge of it up against the side and drag it the length, and that's going to give us what width we need. So if you can see that that's made a burnished mark. I have a piece for 10mm, and this one's a 6, so we'll do the same thing. Let's check that. So that fits right in there. So let's go ahead and cut this one. So now we've basically got tiny little strops without a backer board, which is also nice because these actually have a curvature to them. So we'll go ahead and do this guy right here. And so the way to strop this and polish it is going to be initially with this, because it's a lot easier than trying to use that small one. So we're just going to use this for polishing the flesh side. So you're just going to take this and you're just going to roll this. So we're getting that backside, the flat portion. Just working that. And then we'll use this side also to polish this one. All right, so that looks pretty good. And then we're going to use this 10mm and we're going to want to put some compound on the rough side. Because this is becoming our strop. Go ahead and put it on the smaller one too while we've got the compound out. So this is the 10mm, and the way that you want to do this, since this has got a curvature, the way that it was ground is ground flat and then curves up, and you don't want to glue this to anything, because this way we can actually use our thumb as back pressure and slide this through. So basically we're clamping it like that, and then you're pulling it through. That way we can best match that angle on the inside. And you can see that's starting to have its effect in there. And we're getting some material on here from the compound. Is actually lifting some material, so we know it's doing its job. Okay, so now that we've done with the compound, we can wipe that down. And then we can use the side with no compound on the inside. All right, that looks pretty good. So you got some more polish in there that we started with. Let's see how that wants to cut now. So that really slices well now. But that's how you want to do that. That's how you strop the inside of these cutting tools. Now I'll do the internal on this one. And we'll do the polishing side. Let's see how that works. Not as good as the other one. Could use some sandpaper in there for a little better refinement, but it is cutting. But that's how you sharpen the inside of a French skiver, edger, or any of these edging tools. So thanks so much for watching. Hope that was helpful. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos that come along. Thanks so much.